My name is Alyssa Ray, I'm 27 years old. And if you think love means quiet obedience, stay till the end of my story. Your brother's feelings matter more right now, Mom said, slicing her tone sharper than the knife she used to peel apples. He's been fragile since his breakup. Maybe postpone the wedding until he feels special again. Dad nodded, his fork clinking against the plate. You've always been the reasonable one, Alyssa. Be the bigger person, just this once. I stared at them across the dinner table, the lace sample for my dress still folded in my lap. My heart felt like it was being taxed for existing. Ethan, the golden boy, sat beside Mom scrolling through his phone, half smiling. Yeah, sis, don't make a big deal. It's not like your wedding's going anywhere. The room tilted. My throat tightened. I whispered, so, you want me to cancel the venue? The date? Mom didn't look up. Just until your brother feels better. He's been under pressure lately. Do you ever realize, mid-conversation, that your family never saw you as a person, just the peacekeeper who keeps the storm quiet? I nodded, even though every muscle in my face wanted to scream. Sure, I said softly. I'll reschedule. That night, the house slept under a blanket of comfort while my chest burned with silence. I packed my things, invitations, decor lists, everything I'd built, into a single box. Each item felt like a piece of me they'd stepped over. Outside, the rain hissed against the pavement. I could still hear Mom's voice echoing from dinner. Be the bigger person. I texted her as I loaded my car, you won't have to worry about my wedding anymore. Her reply came fast, stop being dramatic. We'll talk tomorrow. I typed back, there won't be a tomorrow. As I drove away, the headlights blurred through the rain, like the world was washing me clean. The radio was silent, just the hum of tires against wet asphalt, steady and certain. That night, I didn't just leave my parents' house. I left the role they wrote for me. And none of us knew, the next time we'd meet, everything would have changed. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of construction outside my new apartment. Hammers, drilling, life moving forward without asking permission. For once, I liked the noise. It drowned out every echo of home. My phone buzzed non-stop, 17 missed calls, 4 from Mom, 1 from Dad, 12 from Ethan. The last text said, "You really left? Over a wedding?" I almost laughed. Not at the words, but at how small they made something enormous sound. I spent the day setting up my tiny studio. One thrift couch, a chipped coffee table, and a vase with a single white lily, the kind Mom always said looked funeralish. I liked that. It felt honest. By evening, I sent out new invitations. Same date. Same dream. Different venue. Smaller, simpler, but mine. I invited friends who'd supported me, co-workers who cheered my courage, and even my old art professor who once told me, some families only love the version of you that doesn't outgrow them. Ethan posted a cryptic Instagram story that night. Some people only care about their spotlight. Mom liked it. Dad commented a heart emoji. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Silence, I was learning, could be louder than revenge. The wedding came and went. Warm, imperfect, full of laughter that didn't need permission. I wore the same dress they told me to save for later. When I said I do, I felt like I'd buried every piece of the little girl who once begged to be seen. Weeks turned into months. I built a small event planning business from scratch. People loved the name, Reverie and Rue. It started with 3 bookings, then 12, then 4 to 7. I barely slept, but the exhaustion felt different this time. It was mine. A year later, I bought a small loft downtown. As I hung fairy lights across the ceiling, I saw Ethan's name flash on my phone for the first time in months. The message said, "Hey, can we talk? It's about Mom and Dad." And in that moment, I knew something had cracked on their side of the story. I stared at Ethan's message for a long minute. "Can we talk? It's about Mom and Dad." My thumb hovered above the keyboard. Old instincts whispered, answer him, fix it, make peace. But a colder voice, the one I'd earned through nights of quiet rebuilding, said, let him explain first. So I replied, I'm listening. 5 dots appeared, then vanished. Reappeared again. Then finally, a message. They are fighting. About money. Dad's been asking me to cover bills. They said you won't help. I blinked, half in disbelief, half in déjà vu. The same parents who told me my brother deserved more support were now asking him to save them, because I had stopped being their safety net. I didn't reply. Instead, I scrolled through my emails, new contracts, design consultations, payments clearing from clients who trusted me. Every line was a quiet victory. By evening, Mom called. Her tone was syrup-sweet, too calm. "Hi, sweetheart," she said. "We heard your business is doing well." "Better than I ever imagined," I said. "That's wonderful," she sighed, pausing. "You know, Ethan's been under stress with us struggling lately. Maybe you could help him." I finished. A silence so sharp followed that I almost smiled. "Just think about it," she said. "We're still family." I could hear Ethan muttering in the background, his voice low, annoyed, like this wasn't about care, but control. I replied softly, "You know, Mom, I did think about it. For 27 years. And I ended the call. Later that night, I sat on my balcony watching city lights flicker like tiny, stubborn stars. I wasn't angry, just hollow, as if part of me had already grieved them. My phone lit up again. Ethan's new message read, "You've changed, Alyssa. You used to care." I typed back one sentence. "I still do. Just not the way that hurts me." Then I set my phone face down. Somewhere deep inside, I felt it, the first tremor of the collapse I'd quietly stopped holding up. 2 weeks passed before I heard from them again. I was in the middle of arranging flowers for a wedding, ivory roses wrapped in soft gold ribbon, when my phone buzzed. Mom's message flashed across the screen. "Your father's credit card was declined today. Ethan's furious. He says you're being cruel." I read it twice, then put the phone down beside the bouquet. The florist looked at me and said gently, "You okay?" I smiled. "Just allergic to hypocrisy." That night, I finally opened social media, something I'd avoided since I left. Ethan's feed was a portrait of decay disguised as pride. He'd posted luxury dinners, tagged restaurants he clearly wasn't paying for, and his captions dripped with resentment. "Family should never abandon family." Every post had Mom's heart emoji. Every one of them was aimed at me. It was strange how digital affection could rot the same way real love did. Then came Dad's call. His voice trembled, half pride, half plea. "You've done well, Alyssa. We're proud of you, but you know how families work, we help each other." I said nothing. He continued, "Ethan's just having a hard time adjusting. Maybe if you could lend." I interrupted softly, "Dad, when I needed support, you gave it to him instead. I'm not angry. But I learned from you. I help the one who helps me." He sighed. "So you're really choosing yourself?" "Yes," I whispered. "For the first time." After the call, I sat in the dark, phone screen dimmed to black. For years, I thought family bonds were made of blood. Turns out, some are made of silence, and silence breaks cleaner. A week later, I got an email from an unknown address. Subject: "You think you're better than us now?" The sender was Ethan. Attached was a screenshot of my business's public review page, with a 1-star review under his name. "Fake company. Manipulative owner. Avoid at all costs." I didn't flinch. Because what he didn't know was, I had already planned how to respond. And this time, my silence wouldn't protect him. The review stayed up for 24 hours before I took a breath, opened my laptop, and replied publicly. "Hi Ethan. Family disagreements don't belong on business pages. I wish you healing, and boundaries. No anger. No explanation. Just truth, wrapped in calm." Within minutes, messages poured in from clients and strangers. Professional way to handle it. Graceful response. Respect. And one that made me pause. Your brother just exposed himself more than you. The next morning, I woke up to find his comment deleted. Then came the text. "You think you're so clever, don't you?" I didn't reply. Silence again, my favorite weapon. But beneath that quiet was strategy. By noon, I had already called my lawyer. Not for a lawsuit, but to secure my brand, my name, my work. We filed trademarks, copyright protections, business registrations in 3 new states. If they ever tried to use my name again, they'd meet legal walls, not emotional ones. That same evening, I hosted an event for one of my biggest clients, a charity gala downtown. Chandeliers glittered, violins played, laughter filled the air. And there, across the room, I saw something I hadn't expected. Mom. She stood near the doorway, hesitant, clutching a small gift bag. Her eyes darted nervously through the crowd until they landed on me. She looked older, tired in a way guilt makes you. I walked toward her slowly. You came, I said. She smiled, shaky. Ethan told us about your success. We wanted to see it for ourselves. We? I asked, glancing past her. Dad stood behind, silent. For a second, it almost felt like family again, until Mom whispered, maybe now you can help your brother get back on his feet. There it was. The script they couldn't stop reading from. I smiled politely. Of course, I said. I'll make sure he gets exactly what he deserves. Mom exhaled with relief. She didn't notice the way I said deserves. Because the next phase wasn't about anger, it was about exposure. And Ethan had no idea how public it was about to become. The plan began quietly. No shouting, no confrontation, just truth arranged in the right light. A week after the gala, I launched a new online campaign for Reverie and Rue, a series called Behind the Curtain, Real Family Stories of Success and Sabotage. Each post shared a client's story about overcoming jealousy, betrayal, or discouragement from loved ones. It wasn't about my family, not directly. But every word mirrored my reality so precisely that anyone who knew us would feel the echo. The campaign went viral. Within days, hundreds of comments poured in. This happened to me. Families can be your biggest obstacle. Thank you for saying what we're too afraid to. I didn't mention names. I didn't need to. Ethan did that himself. He commented under one post, "You're talking about us, aren't you? You think you're better." I deleted it, not to hide it, but to let his silence look guilty all on its own. That night, Mom called again. Her voice was trembling. Ethan's not doing well. He's losing clients, people are asking questions. Then maybe he should stop making enemies out of family, I said softly. She whispered, "You sound so cold." I exhaled. "No, Mom. I'm just finally at room temperature." After I hung up, I sat in my office surrounded by glowing screens and soft jazz playing in the background. For years, they told me to dim my light so Ethan could shine. Now, my brightness was exposing every shadow they created. A journalist reached out 2 days later, said she loved the campaign, wanted to do a feature on me and the idea of family resilience. The article went live that Sunday. The headline read, "From Rejection to Reinvention, the Woman Who Built Peace Out of Betrayal." Underneath was my photo, smiling, confident, free. And when Ethan saw it, his meltdown wasn't private this time. He went live on social media that night, ranting, pacing, red-eyed. The video lasted 20 minutes before he deleted it. But by then, 20,000 people had already seen it. By morning, Ethan's video was everywhere. Screen recorded, reposted, dissected. The comments section turned into a courtroom, and for once, I wasn't the defendant. He'd gone live ranting about how his sister ruined the family, slurring my business name, waving bills, even yelling, "She left us for money and fame." His words cut, but not the way he intended. They cut him open, exposed the bitterness he'd tried to hide behind that golden boy smile. Mom texted me before sunrise. "Please, take the video down. People are calling. We can't go through this." I replied, "I didn't post it." That silence afterward was a peace I hadn't felt in years. Still, I watched the fallout unfold like a storm I didn't start but had waited my whole life to see pass. Brands dropped him from small endorsement deals. His friends stopped replying. Even Dad, once his defender, messaged me privately. He's lost control. Maybe you should talk to him. I typed, deleted, and finally sent. He never listened when I was quiet. Let him hear the silence now. In the following days, I focused on work. The world moved on, but my inbox didn't stop. Messages from strangers kept flooding in. "Your story gave me strength. I left my toxic home today. You helped me forgive myself." Each one felt like a fragment of healing I hadn't asked for but deeply needed. One night, as I locked up my office, I noticed a familiar car parked across the street, Ethan's. He stepped out slowly, eyes hollow, hands shaking. "Alyssa," he said, voice cracking, "I didn't mean for things to go this far." I stood still, watching him like someone observing an old storm finally dying out. "I know," I said softly. "Neither did I." He looked at the ground, tears tracing lines of exhaustion. "I lost everything." I nodded. "So did I once. That's how I learned what was worth keeping." He didn't speak again. Just turned away, shoulders caving inward. As he drove off, I whispered into the night, "Maybe now you'll finally grow without someone shrinking for you." And for the first time, the silence didn't ache, it glowed. A month passed. The chaos faded into background noise, like a storm finally exhausted. My parents stopped calling, stopped defending, stopped pretending. Sometimes silence is not punishment, it's peace arriving quietly at the door. One morning, a letter slipped through my office mailbox, handwritten, trembling ink, familiar handwriting. It was from Mom. "Alyssa." We watched the video again. We finally saw what we refused to see. "You were never cruel, just tired of being used. We're sorry we made you the caretaker of everyone else's feelings but your own. Dad's been quiet. Ethan's been getting help. Maybe someday we can start over, differently. Love, Mom. I read it 3 times, tears blurring the edges of the page. There was no triumph in me, just stillness. Because revenge, when it's complete, doesn't roar, it exhales. That evening, I drove back to the old neighborhood. The house looked smaller, the lawn less perfect, the air thinner. I didn't go in. I just stood at the gate, tracing the chipped paint, remembering the night I left. Through the window, I saw Dad helping Mom set the table. Ethan's car wasn't there. For once, I didn't feel anger. I felt distance, the healthy kind. I slipped the letter back into my coat pocket and whispered, "This time, I'm not the one who needs to be forgiven." Back home, I sat at my desk and opened a blank page for my next campaign. Its headline read, "Healing isn't winning, it's stopping the cycle." Before posting, I added one final line. "If this ever happened to you, say same in the comments." The screen reflected my face, older, calmer, untouchable. Somewhere, Ethan was probably learning what accountability feels like. And maybe, one day, Mom would understand that love without respect isn't love at all. I closed my laptop, poured tea into my favorite chipped cup, and smiled at the quiet. This wasn't the ending they wrote for me, but it was the one I chose.